I'm going to demonstrate how Lab 6 works, but before we go to Lab 6, I wanted to show Lab 5 and how it is different. So in Lab 5, you built an HTTP server, but it didn't have to handle multiple clients concurrently. And so what I've done in Lab 5 is I've added artificial sleep, some delay, kind of simulating a long request. And so I did that. I first received the request, then I delay sleep for 5 seconds, and then I handle the request. And so this is just a way to kind of simulate what it would look like for some request that maybe takes a long time. Okay, so I'm running my server, or here I'm using HTTP pipe as the tool. You can also use curl or whatever you want, but this is just the tool I really like. So let's make a request, and let's do two back to back and see what happens. So I'll run this one, and I'll run this one. So we get this request, now sleeping for 5 seconds. Okay, now it handled that one. Now it's handling this other request. Okay, so it took 10 seconds to handle that. First, this top client, and this other client down here wasn't even handled until this one was completely done, and then it handled the bottom one. So it took 10 seconds in total. So that's to be expected. That's okay behavior. I mean, it'll happen a lot faster if you don't have the sleep in there, but that's totally expected behavior. But with Lab 6, it's going to be different. You're going to need to handle multiple clients at once. So let me go to Lab 6. So with Lab 6, let me run it. Uh, Instead of everything else will be the same, except now you need to handle clients concurrently. And so that will look a little bit different. So let me clear this, and then we'll run the same command. We'll change the port. Okay, let me get it all set up. Okay, so now what's going to happen is because I still have the 5-second pause in my Lab 6, between receiving and responding to the request. But now that sleep is happening on a thread. And so the main accept thread is not being blocked by that sleep. And so what you'll see is that it'll still take 5 seconds to service the request, but it'll happen in parallel. So let me run the top one and then the bottom one real quick. So you can see that I did get output even when I got the second request. So that one, and so they now happen much more closer, the time differences between me running those two commands at once. So that's what it should look like on your Lab 6. And another important part of Lab 6 is how to exit out gracefully when there's a request going on. So let me try this again. So what if you got two clients and they're taking a long time, and then you also want to exit out of your server? So you need to be able to handle that. That's part of the graceful exiting of it, is that you need to wait until those threads are done being processed before you completely exit out. So let me show you that. I'm going to run these two requests back to back, and then I'm going to hit Control C on my server, and it'll, rather than just killing the whole process, it'll actually will wait until these requests have been properly handled. So go boom, boom, and we hit Control C. So you can see that it handled it properly. It handled interrupt. It closed the server socket, but then it waited for those threads to finish and let the uh, client sockets close before it actually exited out. And so more things happened. So that's another requirement of Lab 6.